And again, go ahead and watch your full video. So the other thing too is keep in mind that when it's not just going to be doctors and nurses, teachers, and any other female dominated profession, people are not going to want to work here. We already have a teaching shortage. I call myself a disgraced ex-hot teacher. I was a long-term sub last year for about 5 months. I've been very vocal about my experience with the school system here, and I was in an award-winning school system. Keep that in mind. You will see shortages like you will not believe. It's still early. Within a year, you're going to see more. And excuse Tessa, and I talked to people and they've said, well, if my daughter has kids and she's having a miscarriage, she's getting treatment. I said, oh, if she stays here, she's not. And I don't say that to be mean, but if you choose to have a baby in one of these states, you're screwed. And I'm not trying to victim blame. I'm just saying that is something you have to consider. You will probably not get adequate health care. And if it's somebody who had already maybe had kids, okay, but for most people, it's not a good idea. I would not advise anyone I know to have a baby in any of these states. I would not, if you were pregnant, don't come to one of these states until after you give birth, because you will not get the health care you need. Even in more liberal areas like outside of Atlanta where I am, the attitudes here in general are very different than in most parts of the country. And we're just going to leave it at that. So really keep that in mind. And if you are someone, like I said, who you have a daughter or a trans son or anyone who could potentially get pregnant who wants to come to one of these states, don't send your kid to one of these states. They're not safe. They're not. Especially in the Southeast. I have lived in the Southeast all of my life besides 3 years in the Midwest for school. And while I was still in a red state, the attitudes are just very different. And it will take women and other pregnant people dying for there to be any change and a ton of fighting. And some people are like, well, I'm going to stay and fight. Good for you. But for me, medically, me staying and fighting is would put my life on the line. And I am no good to anyone dead, permanently disabled, in a psych ward, or arrested, because that would be my future if I stayed in Georgia. Now, I do plan on visiting, obviously, but even then, I have to be very careful